Welcome to the Goalbusters Expert Peak Productivity Tips podcast, where top business experts get just 7 minutes to answer 5 rapid-fire questions about what they do and how they stay productive. Each episode is packed with actionable insights to help boost your efficiency and achieve your goals. Let's dive in and unlock the secrets to peak performance. Well, hello everyone. My name is Robin J. Emden and I'm the creator of the Get Resultsology system and an accountability coach. I help people harness productivity to achieve meaningful results, increase income, grow their business, and create success that resonates with their authentic selves. My guest today is Nikki Starcat Shields. Nikki is an author, book midwife, and transformational writing retreat leader. Nikki integrates spirituality into her daily life and creativity. She has authored 6 non-fiction books and is currently crafting a contemporary fantasy series. With a passion for helping others bring their heartfelt stories to life, Nikki specializes in guiding writers to create engaging books that reflect their unique voices. She's also dedicated to helping authors thrive by aligning their creative pursuits with their true priorities. Nikki enjoys life with her family, cats, yoga, reading, and the magic of the ocean. Welcome, Nikki.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here too. And where are you? Where is this ocean? Or whereabouts in the world are you?
I'm in southern Maine in the United States.
Oh, wow. So you've got Thanksgiving coming up tomorrow. I think that's I heard that's quite a big event for you guys. Just another working day.
It's just having 19 folks over for dinner.
19. I think I'm having the cat. I have a cat that visits. That's about it. Okay. Oh, that sounds fabulous. So thank you so much, because it's obviously Thanksgiving Eve when we're recording this. So thank you so much for giving up your time to do this today. So shall we crack on then? If I start the clock and I'll start asking the 5 questions in 7 minutes.
Let's do it.
Okay. So let's get the clock going. There it goes. Nikki, could you please tell us, who is your ideal client?
My ideal client is an entrepreneur or healer or creative who has a really awesome idea for a book, but they don't yet consider themselves a writer necessarily, or they're not sure how they can do it. They're just worried about making it happen.
Perfect, which leads nicely into the second question, which is, what is the problem that you solve?
Usually my ideal client has that book idea and they may have even tried to write it, but they don't have the time, they don't have the confidence, and they feel like they don't have the skills to really write the book that they want. And so I can help them to learn to do those things.
Yeah, because writing is hard. I can vouch for that.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. That's brilliant. Thank you. So, so you take them all through the whole process. Is that from the creative right through to publication, or is there a point at which you step back and say this is something you can do?
I haven't really gotten involved with the publication part, aside from helping them build their author platform, which is basically your audience that most publishers and agents, or even if you self-publish, you need to kind of have an audience. So we do work on building that as we go.
Excellent. Thank you. That's very clear. Thank you. So what would be one valuable free action that the audience can implement that will help them solve this problem that you solve?
My very favorite writing tip is and it's something that almost everyone does, we try to write and edit at the same time. And from my experience, that does not work. It slows you down or even stops you in your tracks, because writing comes from like the right brain, free flowing, creative side of us that we want to cultivate. And editing comes from that very analytical, critical left brain. And if you try to like do it both at the same time, it's like driving a car when you're pushing on the brake and the gas at the same time. It's 2 different things.
Yes.
So don't try to write and edit at the same time.
That is very sound advice. And having just finished my first non-fiction book, I can vouch for that. Absolutely. I did the creative thing first. I just did a complete mind dump onto the page or the screen. And then I started editing. And then I handed it over to my son, who has a degree in English. And We do not agree about editing. So
Uh,
that was
yeah,
so much
finding the right
fun.
editor is important. But we're taught to do that in school. We're taught to make it perfect as we go, and that's just
Yes.
really makes it harder.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. And I know that you're absolutely right. And I know you know what you're talking about. So who am I to say that? That's my own experience too. So now we know a little bit more about what you do, Nikki. Let's talk about goal busting, meaning how do you make the best use of your own productive time to achieve your own business goals, which for a writer, I know can be quite a challenging thing. So can you share any tips or advice for someone looking to improve their productivity habits, please?
Yeah, so I have noticed with creativity, there's an ebb and flow. It's not like something where we're just on every single day all the time. There's an ebb and a flow. Sometimes we feel really creative and we're just, typing a lot of words. And you can translate this if you're an artist or a builder or any, your work, your creative work has this flow. And sometimes there's an ebb and we don't feel it, we feel blocked, or it's not the day to do that. So what I like to advise people to do and what I do is track those things. So sort of create a process journal where you're tracking, how long you wrote, how it felt, maybe if you're into this kind of thing, what the moon phases are, or what the astrology, weather is like, how much sleep you got the night before, whether you're feeling a little under the weather, and just sort of track those things and then look at them and say, oh, I noticed that at the dark of the moon, I just need to like relax and not try to do a bunch of things. But when the moon is full, oh, I can write and write and write. So there's, whatever your own biorhythms are, you'll begin to discover, those rhythms. And then you can embrace that and not just feel bad about yourself when you have an off day.
Yeah, I mean, off days. I mean, it's something that I'm writing my book, a non-fiction book about procrastination. Of course, I came across people like the stories of, do you know Victor Hugo's story, the guy who wrote Les Miserables? I believe his story was that he got so far behind, he locked himself naked in his room and ordered his servant not to give him his clothes back until he'd finished his book. That's
Wow.
a little bit extreme, I will admit. Probably not the best of advice, but that's what the length that people will go to sometimes.
Yeah. It also helps you to know your rhythms, whether you like to write in a whole day, just do the thing, or if you like to write a little, maybe an hour here and then an hour the next day. You can find your own what works best for you.
Yeah, I think authors, it's a special craft. I really admire people that can sit down and write, and I know there's so much goes into it's all up here, isn't it? And you have to, and if you can't get it that day, it is a challenge. Which where people like yourself, a book midwife is what you call yourself. I absolutely love that. I thought, yes, that's exactly
Thank
what it's like
you.
writing a book. Yes,
It
definitely.
is. It
So
is.
so finally, I always love this question because I never know what's going to come up, and it's always a surprise, usually a pleasant one. So, what should I have asked you today, Nikki, that I didn't? And your answer, please.
Well, you mentioned in my intro that I integrate spirituality. And so my question for myself would be, how is writing like channeling? So channeling being like bringing in wisdom from the non-physical. And I think it's a lot like that because I think we all have within us a wellspring of creativity and we might not have accessed it often or much. And if you have done something creative where you've been in the zone, where you just like, oh, you're just creating something and it's so fun, time goes flying by. That's when you were kind of channeling your own inner wisdom and your own creativity. So if you get yourself aligned with your whole self and but doing things like not honoring your ebb and flow and having a writing ritual and things like that, you can then it'll become easier because you're going to access that inner creativity that flows more freely. And it really, to me, it is like channeling, whether you're passionately writing about what your expertise is in your business, or if you're writing fiction, you just close your eyes and you see a scene and you like type it down. It's like bringing it in from your imagination into the world, and for me that's easier and more fun than trying to really agonize about it with our conscious mind.
And I think that, if I'm right, circles back very nicely to your point about don't edit, just write, doesn't it? Because I know so many times when I was writing my book recently, I'd read back what I'd written the next day or even a week later, and I go, "Who wrote this? I don't
Yeah.
remember writing this," you know.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I start editing, it's like, oh, yeah, it's every word, every comma, every full stop. The amount of arguments I have with my son about commas, unbelievable. not really conducive to creative writing, but it does have to be right when you are editing. So, but getting the words down. So I really like what you're saying. You're right about getting into flow, and whatever you call it, channeling, whether it's just focus. There is something extraordinary that happens when you're just writing and writing and writing. Is that right for you?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's
Yeah.
it's like I said, it's so much more fun and it's so much easier than trying to agonize over it.
It is easier because you go back and you go, I've got my book here with all the tabs in everything I've gone back, and it's because this is the draft, and it's like, yeah, but I don't remember writing most of this stuff, and yet there it is.
There it is. Your inner self was bringing it forth.
Absolutely. And then my son. Enough said. So, Nikki, how can people reach you? And are there any, I always like to say, are there any nice, juicy, valuable free resources they can pick up? Because that's a really good way of connecting with you, I find.
Absolutely. So if you visit my website, nikkistarcatshields.com, and you click on join, for joining my mailing list, I am gifting you a PDF that's a guide called Write the Damn Book. And it will give you tips, some of which you've heard today and some others, about how to get started.
Write the damn book. Someone actually screamed that down the phone at me one day, only they didn't. I was saying how busy I am with the book and it's taking forever. And they said, write the damn book, but they didn't use the word damn. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, well, there you go. There you go.
So I completely relate to that. Okay, that's been fantastic. Thank you so much. I've learned so much, and it really reminded me about writing, and I know that what you're doing is really spot on with what you're doing. So I think it's a hugely valuable service that you provide, Nikki. So thank you for sharing with us today.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Absolutely. Thank you, and bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in to Goalbusters. If you're enjoying it, please subscribe, rate and review it on your favourite podcast platform. Your support is very much appreciated. And if you're ready to boost your online profits, skyrocket your productivity, crush procrastination and see a positive change in your bank balance, all within just 30 days, this is your opportunity. Take my free 5-day challenge at www.skyrocketyourproductivitychallenge.com.